Hey, good morning, everyone. Morning warm up here. So, in coaching, a lot of times we will touch on mindset a lot. And a lot of people, we have a lot of processes at the very beginning of our coaching where we help you kind of get this thing up here in line. And a lot of people wonder, why do we focus so much on that? So, I thought I would kind of break it down for you, give you a little bit of an understanding. I want you to think about your brain as if it was a company. Okay, so your brain's a company, and you're the accountant in the company. And the accountant is the person typically, right? I know in a lot of companies where you go to the accountant and say, hey, can we do this? And then the accountant's got to check in with all the different departments. So you're the accountant. So the first department the accountant's going to go to when there's something that you decide that you want to go do, right? It's going to go to what we call the reward department. And the reward department in your brain is the area of your brain. And basically, the accountant says the reward department will, hey, why are we doing this, right? What's the reward here? And if that reward department says, well, I don't really know. I mean, I guess it's going to be good. I mean, I think it's going to be okay. Then the accountant says, wow, that's not a very solid reason. Do we have a better why than that? Do we have a better reward than that? And so many times you think about when we do life lists, when we do Find Your Why, read the book by Simon Sinek, it's because we want that reward department to have a very, very vivid response. Here is why. So why are we going on that trip? Here's why. Okay, that's number one. So after the accountant leaves the reward department, they go to the next department. The next department is the long-term memory department, and they say, "Hey, give me all the data you got on this. On this, I just talked to the reward department. They said this is why we're going. Tell me this. Oh, that's, you know what? We tried to do that before and it didn't work. Really? Yeah. We tried to do it before, it didn't work, and it was difficult. It was really hard, and we haven't really actually. I remember going way back to when I was young, and people would tell us that was something that we weren't probably going to be able to accomplish. Oh, well, that's not very good. So why do we read books like Getting Back to Neutral and It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Mowat? It's because your your past is not predictive of your future, right? And if you want to hang on to some of those long-term negative memories, you're not going to be able to move forward. So then after the accountant leaves the long-term memory department, the accountant goes to the emotional department, the feeling department, and says, hey, how are we feeling about this? Well, I got to tell you, I'm kind of fearful, and I've been really stressed out about this for a while. And I, I'm gonna wait a little bit because I'm really a little bit afraid today. And there's these things that they've asked me to do, but I got to tell you, I'm afraid, right? Do you know that all of our decisions that we make are based in emotions? Right? The emotions create us to make that decision or not make that decision. And sometimes, if we have too much fear in that emotional department, we get stifled with moving forward. So then the accountant moves from there, and the accountant moves to the conflict department and says, are there any conflicts with this, what we want to go do? Any conflicts going on here? And the conflict department says, yeah, there is. I got to tell you, there's this group of people that we hang out with, and they all have said that, it's not going to be a good time to make this happen. There's a big conflict going on right now. We just need to wait. We just need to wait, right? Versus the conflict department saying, well, there is some conflict, but I think we figured out a way to get through it. In fact, I think that I talked to the reward department, and the reward is big enough that we'll be able to manage that. Okay. Then they leave the conflict department and they go to the short-term memory department. And the short-term memory department just says, well, in order to do this, I mean, there's like 22 things we've got to do. And the accountant says, well, that's just way too much stuff. That's just way too much stuff. How can we make all that happen? And the problem is that short-term memory department hasn't chunked it down into bite-sized chunks of 3 variables on any given day, right? So you think about when we do coaching, why do we want you to get things down to variables of 3 to 5? It's because that's when our rational brain is optimal. That's when we can make decisions. That's when we don't have paralysis analysis, right? And so my point to you is you have to set an agenda. You have to break it down. You have to go through and have to say, what's my why? You have to remember that past is not predictive of your future. You have to remember that emotions are powerful. You have to remember that, you know what? It is going to be difficult, but we're going to be able to manage and get through it. You have to understand that you can't have too many variables. You got to break it down into bite-sized chunks. And when you do all those things, and those things we go through coaching, it's amazing. You end up having success. I know this was a little bit longer morning warm up, but I think it's important for us to understand that our brain really is like a company, and there are departments in our brain, and we've got to touch on every single department before we have the ability to move forward and be successful. All right, everybody. Hey, make it a great day. Be awesome. Help somebody. We'll talk to you later.